What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. It's your boy Soul Blaze, baby. We are back with more content, and this time we have our lovely Christmas edition of Swirlix. Of course, winter holiday season. Not everybody celebrates it, so if you celebrate Christmas, happy holidays or happy Christmas, Merry Christmas. If you don't celebrate, that's also fine, but this will be a little Santa Claus hat special edition. Now, we have a special feature, as you can see. News for the Swirlix series is that I'm going to start doing custom art for this series to practice my drawing skills. So enjoy that. Look forward to that. And this edition is all about the icy cone little boy Snorunt himself. Almost said Snover. Starting off strong, but you already know. Before we get into it, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video with a friend, and share them up. Wish him a happy holiday. So let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to get into with Snorunt today, that is going to be the sets, or not even the sets, but like the everything that Snorunt can do. So first of all, if we look at the stats of Snorunt, we have everything is 50 across the board, which is not, you look at Snorunt and you think, holy moly, man. 50 across the board, that's terrible. Look at this. No green lines, nothing. But you have to remember, this is the Little Cup, right? So in Little Cup, 50, for example, if we take speed, for example, 50 becomes 15 base speed, which is less than average, but 16 is average. So when numbers are small, like in correlation to the metagame, it's not as bad as you would think. The numbers are smaller in general. Nothing here has like base 140 speed that you have to compare to. Nothing has like 130 defense that you have to worry about. So in hindsight, it actually kind of scales up a little bit. So Snorunt is not as bad off as you would think. Is it amazing? Not by a long shot. It's bad. Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's bad. But that doesn't mean that Snorunt is useless. It has some niche use cases, and I do think it can fit on some teams and pull in some weight. Obviously, as a pure ice type, it has some very obvious upsides and some very obvious downsides. The upside is your offense. Ice type as an offensive type is one of the best offensive typings in the game. It hits a lot of really clean, good types that you want to hit. Dragons, which are, less common in LC, but still, it's one of the few typings in the game that hit dragon for super effective, which is pretty useful. You hit those pesky ground types for super effective. Not a lot of types hit ground for super effective as well. You can hit flying types, which are pretty common because we have a lot of like birds in the Little Cup. And you can hit like grass types. Obviously, you have every grass starter is here, and you have like a bunch of early game grass types. Like you have like Oddish, you have like Bellsprout, you have like, all of those. You have like Cottony, you have all of those grass types you can now hit for stab super effective, which is pretty good. With that on your physical spread, you have priority. You have stab priority and ice shard, which is pretty good. Just pretty good to have. When you're slow, you want something to outspeed. So it says, say something is either quad weak to ice or just weak to ice regularly, and they are like a scarf variant, and you happen to have like max attack adamant ice shard, stab ice shard, like that's really good. You can also run icicle spear. Of course, I've not put loaded die on here. New item, which makes like multi-hit moves hit 4 out of 5 times, or 4 or 5 out of 5 times, which is pretty consistent, good damage for icicle spear. Obviously, it doesn't do anything with your speed or anything like that, but if you want to have a multi-hit move, stab multi-hit move is pretty good too. Like you can get damage past berry juice, you can like break sturdies, like it's pretty good. Icicle crash is more for the scarf variants and stuff like that if you want to boost your speed and get the flinch chance, but it's obviously probably your best ice stab like overall if you don't want to run like ice spinner for 100% accuracy. Then you obviously have like body slam, you can fish for paralysis, you have double edge for just like clean, neutral, normal hit. You have crunch for ghosts, facade if you get like statist, and avalanche if you want to like, if you are going a slow bulky variant with like attack, you can go avalanche to get like a 150 base, which is pretty good. And then you can also Trailblaze. It got this Trailblaze this generation to boost Snorunt speed while hitting stuff that might be a little risky for Snorunt, like rock types. So something is quad weak to grass, for example, you can Trailblaze, and either you hit it for quad effective, super effective, get your speed raised, you still do damage, you still proc sashes, you still proc sturdies, or you get like a speed on a swap out, which could be really good. On the special side, you're not really lacking either. You have like Blizzard, which can be 100% accurate in snow, and that got a buff this gen too. So like as an ice type, you now have 1.5 times defense in snow, which can really help pack that defensive stat of Snorunt, for example. On top of Eviolite, you become really tanky. Do you have recovery? No, not outside of rest or like a wish pass, which is uncommon outside of Spritzy, but it is possible. Like, it is workable, it is doable. This is like a lower tier Pokemon, so you kind of have to do some workarounds where Snorunt doesn't quite reach, but there is concepts that you can fit into your team composition to make Snorunt work. Obviously, you can still run like Frost Breath if you want to crit stuff through like Calm Mind boosts and stuff like that, so you kind of have like you kind of have a way to damage stuff through boosts, which is really cool. So things can't just like set up Calm Minds on you for free, for example, or Chilling Water to reduce attack. It's kind of like it's trying to be a status absorber, but it's defensive typing, and the stats hinder it a little bit. It doesn't have the most amazing abilities either. Inner Focus is nice for not flinching, but the Intimidate blocking part that was new with this gen is actually kind of nice for if you want to run your physical attacking sets with Snorunt. I kind of like that a lot. Ice Body, of course, if you run that Snowscape, as you can see in the status moves there, or you run this on a snow team, it gets that passive recovery, which Snorunt desperately needs. And you get that Ice type defense as long as you don't tear away from Ice type, which can be pretty good for Snorunt. Like, even without Terra, you can go Eviolite or you can go Heavy Duty Boots, set up the snow, and then you become tanky on the physical side. You have a little bit of passive recovery. Like, it's not too bad for Snorunt, actually. Of course, Terra Blast and Change, using this as like a Terra Captain or whatever if you want to, can be doable as well. I'm only going to suggest a specific Terra type. You'll see when we get to it. But yeah, Snorunt can run Scarf pretty effectively as well. It can run plus offensive nature and still outspeed the entire unboosted metagame. It can run Berry Juice for recovery. Obviously, in LC, Berry Juice can give recoveries to Mon that don't have, which is pretty good. You can go Resist Berries. I've kind of symbolified this into an Alka Berry because you're weak to fire. You can run Focus Sash lead set with Terra, and set up the most important move that Snorunt has, which we're going to be talking a lot about, and that's Spikes. This thing gets spikes, and this is what you draft Snorunt for if you draft it at all, is if your team is hyper offensive or is really benefiting from spikes. Spikes is a really good hazard move, and in Little Cup as well. Like, you can have one layer and do solid amounts of damage, or you can have several layers and you can just make people swap out on the spikes, and they're gonna have a hard time dealing with that. But that's like the main gist of Snorunt. It has a lot of other things you can do as well. It doesn't get Reflect, but it does get Light Screen. It can block things in to get up spikes. It can sing. Very poor accuracy, but you can either try and just like run it as is, or you can do stuff like Wide Lens to increase sing accuracy, or you can use like Blunder Policy or stuff like that. You can attract specific other genders, like if you know Spritzy or like Flabebe is coming and that's female, you can set Snorunt to male and attract them, for example. Switcheroo is really nice for Scarf sets, so you can trick Scarfs onto tanks, and you can just like choose your moments, choose when Snorunt can be a fast offensive ice type, or choose when you want to cripple tanks. You also have Toxic for that, so stuff like Slowpoke doesn't get away for free. You can also set up Substitute to do stuff, obviously, and you can also do Rest Sleep Talk if you want to go that way. You can use Protect on this thing if you want to check if things are scarfed or not, or if you want to stall out Sun turns, or like stuff like that. It's just the main general things that Snorunt can do. It's not a lot and it's not much, but Snorunt has some utility as well, which you can take care of. So that is Snorunt. Let's provide some sets for you to use when you draft Snorunt to your LC draft teams. So here we have a couple of variants that I put out for you. It's gonna be 9 out of 10 times 3 spike rage. You're hoping to get 3 spikes. I don't care if it's Focus Sash Lead, Eviolite for defense boost with or without snow, and Durasalic Berry to try and get some speed up and to try and get another layer of spike. Terra Ghost is the only Terra type that I'm going to suggest. Yes, you can Terra Ice to keep the defense buff, gain stronger ice attacks. Yes, you can Terra Ground with Terra Blast to have ice ground coverage and stuff like that. There is things you can do, but I'm only going to suggest Ghost because the fact that you can add another spin blocker, you probably drafted a Ghost outside of Snorunt, but the fact that you can try and spin block with Snorunt and try and keep those 3 layers of spikes up is huge, man. It really is huge. So as you can see, the Choice Scarf set is also nice. Obviously, if you run Special, you can run Frost Breath, Blizzard, or Ice Beam. You run the special attack. If you run the Icicle Crash with the Scarf, for example, you can do that too. Then you run the physical attack, and then you hope for the flinches and stuff like that. You can, again, go like bulky Berry Juice or like, you know, bulky Eviolite for the even defenses that get multiplied by 1.5. But I've also added some really spicy sets on the bottom here to inspire you to pick up Snorunt and try and innovate with it, because it has that factor to it. You can cook with this Pokemon. You can implement it, and it doesn't cost a lot of points, which is really good. So if your team really needs that spike support and it doesn't have an ice type, for example, Snorunt might be worth the look at. So you have the Blunder policy, which is really cool because then you get really fast and you can sing people, and then they are statused, so you can hex them, I believe. I think that's the way hex works. I think it works with sleep. So you can do that, and if Sing or Blizzard misses, you gain 2 times speed, so you're faster than everything, and you can try and spike stack, or you can try and sing them so they are asleep, and then you spike stack them, and then if they get awake, you can Ghost Terra, and you can like keep the Rapid Spin away. Like, it's kind of a cool little set. I've called it Santa Sleep Claws. Little funny name there. And of course, last but not least, we have the Devil's Child. You do not want to mess with the Devil's Child. So this thing has recovery through Rest or Berry Juice or both. This thing will trap something really passive, and it will just toxic it so it wears down. And while that's happening, it will rest on you. It will spike stack 3 layers, and it will either die and get momentum and trade 1 for 1 eventually with a toxic, or it's like you get like 2 layers. Like you're pretty surefire to get like at least 2 spikes there with this set. It's a pretty devilish set that can try and 1v1 like the more passive things in LC, because you just go really bulky with Eviolite, and then you have Rest, so they like, if you confirm they have no setup, you can just like spike stack them. You can do this early, you can do this later. So, and there's variants you can do. You can do with or without blocking trap. You can do with or without toxic if you need like a move to hit for actual damage, if you don't want to run no attacks. But yeah, so that is the Snorunt sets that I will provide for you. Snorunt has a lot of potential to do a lot of different things, and it's hard to kind of encapsulate it into sets sometimes. But I feel like Snorunt has, I don't feel like Snorunt ever has like a super bad matchup just because of spikes. Spikes are just so good like that. Now, in these episodes where I do Wine Swirlix, I like to add a little meme, haha, before I do the rating. I couldn't really find a spicy Snorunt meme, so instead I called in my good friend Ducky, and he's not here with us today, but he is here in spirit, and I gave him in his hands Snorunt and wanted to see what he could cook with it. So for our special showcase of Snorunt, he wanted to showcase these 2 sets right here. One is a really creative like Toxic Orb Switcheroo Facade angle with an attack boost. So the whole point is you toxic yourself, so you gain a stronger facade on the physical attack, so you have like a breaking point. Obviously you get stalled by steel types or whatever, but in theory this can do a lot of damage, and you can set up spikes as well. And then once you've proc the toxic onto yourself, you can switch a route to kind of have a toxic on the opponent. And while you do this, you can potentially either gain an Eviolite, or in worst case, if you trade it for no item, you get reduced knockoff damage to yourself, which is kind of genius. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of cool. So that's a really cool set. The other set that he cooked up was the Focus Sash variant, where you're trying to get a Trailblaze off, and you have a modest nature, so you're 14, outspeed the unboosted metagame, and then you can either Ice Beam or Frost Breath, and then like Shadow Ball, Terra Blast Water, which is really like solid coverage for Little Cup, and you can just try and kill stuff before you get killed. I would probably look at that set and be like, maybe we throw spikes on this for another move, in case like the coverage either is enough in 2 moves, or you can't cover enough, like you know always something is coming in, but then you can also switch your Terra type around. But I feel like Ducky has this idea where I'm gonna try and use Terra offensively with Snorunt, or I'm gonna try and like make sure that they just don't status fuck me over. Excuse the language, it's Christmas time. So that is the sets that Ducky wanted to showcase here today. Hopefully I did them enough justice. He also talked about the idea that I was talking about earlier with the setting up the snow and getting the defense boost, getting 100% accurate blizzards, and just getting the ice body heal. So that's also kind of like a Snorunt angle you can totally go. I'm kind of regretting not putting it up for you, but at least I'm talking about it. So take notes, people, take notes. That is going to be it for Snorunt. The final rating on Wine Swirlix featuring Snorunt. That's going to be a D+. That is not an F. This is not a scatterbug. This is not a Pidgey even. I feel like it's better than a Pidgey. Like, this is not a Ladybug. This is not a Dreepy. This is Snorunt, you know? It's there with like, I don't know, I don't have a good example. Like I don't really, it's like, it's there, dude. I guess it's like there with like the what's a good mon I can compare it to, I guess. It's kind of like, it doesn't have the U-turn, it doesn't have the momentum, it doesn't have the knockoff, but it has some like unorthodox utility that puts it on the 5 or 6 range out of 14, okay? It's kind of solid like that. It's kind of like that, okay? Is it an ice type that you would draft over Galarian Doromoka? Probably not, but it can save you points. And I've drafted Snorunt in the past myself, and it gets the quality check from me. So this is kind of like as low as you can go in terms of points that you can still bring to games, and like this is probably the lowest tier MVP you could probably fetch out, unless you go crazy with like Flingrel or something like that. So that's going to be it for Wine Swirlix. Comment down below who you want to see next, or let me know, because I would love inspiration. And yeah, custom art for next time. So this has been your boy Soulblaze, and as always, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Like, comment, subscribe. Take care of yourself. Take care of your families in this Christmas holiday. And if you don't celebrate, that's fine too. Just take care of them nonetheless. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.